This is the week 12 corrections for Fix-It 2. On day 1, we are going to indent because, excuse me, we have a change in topic here. Change in time. From what we were talking about to this new fair morning. Remember, it says at the top of your page, look when you see two adjectives before a noun, ask if you can switch their order or if you can put and in between them to see if you need a comma. And that will help you determine if they are cumulative, which means no comma, or coordinate, which means they do need a comma. So we have this adverbial opener here. When birds were melodiously singing in the oak one fair morning, hidden among its dewy silent leaves. There's a comma. That's the beginning of our sentence. Robin Hood rose. We need to capitalize his name and we capitalize when. He rose needing a change. So a comma there too. Oops, and I put a period, not a comma. So we have an ly. We've got here one fair, two adjectives before a noun. Could you say fair one morning? No. What is that? They're cumulative. One fair morning. So no comma there, but then look here, we have among its dewy silent leaves. You could have its silent and dewy leaves. That makes just as much sense. So those are coordinate. We do need a comma between them. So those are both adjectives. The it's, remember, because it is a contraction. You don't use an apostrophe for the possessive it, something that belongs to it. So it's this first one that we're going to use. And then prepositional phrase, we just have in the oak. So our subjects and verbs are, we're singing here in this first part. Who we're singing or what we're singing? The birds. Robin Hood rose. Rose is our verb and Robin Hood is the one that did it. And then needing a change here is just describing Robin Hood. So we don't need any more there. For vocabulary, we have this word melodiously, which means they are tunefully singing in a sweet sounding way. On day 2, no indent, we're still talking about this new morning and Robin Hood, what he's doing. So we are going to capitalize the first word in the sentence. This is an adverbial opener. We call this a number 5 opener. As he considered his next move, that's our adverbial clause. We have an adjective describing the move. It's next. We need a comma and it's there. Up rose his merry men. Now, merry men is the title that they had. So that makes this a proper noun. It needs to be capitalized. And this, again, is giving us more information about the merry men. Each fellow washing his head and hands in the cold, gurgling brook. Then there's a period. So here, each is describing the fellows. So that's an adjective, not one that would commonly be noticed as an adjective, I think. Each fellow washing his head and hands. What is this joining? And it's joining head and hands, the two things that are being washed. And then we have our prepositional phrase in the cold, gurgling brook. Brook is being described, this noun, by two adjectives, cold and gurgling. We know that we need the comma because I could say in the gurgling cold brook or the cold and gurgling brook. Different from if I said the one and fair morning. That sounds funny. This one does not. So we need commas here. Subjects and verbs. When he considered, considered is the verb, he is the subject. Up rose his merry men. Rose is our verb here, and merry men is the subject. And then that's the last clause. So gurgling means it's flowing in an irregular and noisy current. I don't know if you really have gurgling brooks in Florida because you don't have hills, and I feel like hills are required for that. But I know where I come from in Montana, brooks gurgle. Okay, so then we have day 3, no indent still, because we're talking still about the same subject, setting the scene on this morning. From stone to stone. This is 2 prepositional phrases actually in a row. From stone to stone, they cavorted about. laughing and enjoying themselves. We'll put a period there. Now, this laughing and enjoying themselves is describing the merry men, who is they. It's not a clause, it's just a participial phrase. So we have a prepositional phrase and a participial phrase and a main clause in the middle. They cavorted about. So our verb is cavorted and they is the subject. That's who cavorted. Cavorted just means you behave in a high-spirited and festive manner. So I'm picturing them wrestling and splashing each other in the water. I could be wrong. So day 4, final day. We need to capitalize our first word. This is a number 3 opener. Clearly, Robin was not captivated by the brook, as were his carefree, festive men. That's an adjective, and this is an adjective. Carefree and festive. And we could say his festive, carefree men, or you could say his carefree and festive men. So that makes them coordinate adjectives, which means they need a comma. We've got one there. And then when Robin Hood speaks, for 14 days we have enjoyed no sport, my friends. That's his quote. We need to indent for a new speaker. We need to open quotes, prepositional phrase, for 14 days. We have enjoyed no sport. Now this, my friends, he's talking to them. That makes this a noun of direct address. So it has to be separated by a comma. This comma is because we're ending his quotes and the attribution is coming. He complained. So we'll put a period there. Prepositional phrases, we have by the brook and for 14 days. Subject and verbs, I missed one, was captivated. Who was captivated? Robin. It's not showing up, so I'll have to reshare. And then we have this word clearly. It has a comma, and here's how I decide whether or not to have a comma with it. What is clearly? It's not how he was captivated. He actually was not captivated. What's clear is this whole fact. It's clear that he was not captivated by the brook. So since the clearly is describing that whole fact, I put a comma with it. If it were just describing how he was captivated or how he captivated, then I would not have a comma with it. But it's describing Robin was not captivated, as were his carefree, festive men. So we have was captivated is our verb, Robin is the subject, as were his carefree, festive men were, and then men is the subject. That's who were. We have enjoyed is our verb, and we is the subject. He complained is the verb, he is the subject. And then for vocabulary, you have captivated, which means if he was not captivated, it means this didn't happen. But if you were captivated, it means attracted or enchanted by something. And here, now we can think of a sport as football or baseball or something like this, but the vocabulary word here that he's saying, we have enjoyed no sport, that means no amusing pastime. We haven't done anything fun, is what he means there. In this context. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share and then reshare it so that you can pause your video and see everything. I had to add some stuff and it didn't show up when I added it, but it will once I reshare. So you can go ahead and pause your video. Everything's right on this screen, so you can get your vocabulary and your words that you have here. Make sure you've got it and everything. If in your class you have not learned number 5 openers, clausal openers, or number 3 openers, don't worry about those. I'm marking them. If you have, it's just showing you an example of what one looks like. So make all of your corrections, all the marking that you need to do, and then get your work uploaded, and I'll see you in class.